Hey guys, it's Lindsay from the blog Repurpose and Upcycle, and I'm going to show you today how to transform this simple maple wood cutting board with KEDA wood dyes. I've been wanting to use this stuff for a while now, and I can't wait to use it to mix a few colors together to give this maple cutting board a really vibrant new look. So why wood dye versus wood stain? Now, I've already done a previous video all about wood dye versus wood stain, where I talked about the difference between a stain and a dye product. And in that video, I used a trans tint dye product. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm going to be making over this cutting board with KEDA wood dyes. And I'm going to talk about KEDA wood dyes. So if you're interested in wood dye versus wood stain video, I'll link that below. But today we're talking mainly about KEDA wood dyes. So just a little background, a lot of people use wood dyes to create their own custom wood color, or some people will tell you that you can generally get a brighter, more vibrant color with a wood dye than you can with a wood stain. Wood dyes tend to really soak into the wood grain, whereas some wood stains just tend to really sit on top. So if you really want to highlight that beautiful wood grain, wood dyes are the way to go. And I'm going to try to make a really colorful wood dye today. I have a crimson red dye and a royal blue dye, and I'm also going to mix these colors together to hopefully make a really vibrant purple color. KEDA wood dyes come in two different forms. They come in the alcohol solvent, which is what I have today. And the alcohol solvent, basically what it is they've already mixed the powder into denatured alcohol product and sent it to me in a little bottle. Now this product is concentrated, so you are going to mix it with something like water. I'm going to be mixing this with water, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Now the KEDA wood dye also comes in a powder form, and you can mix that powder form in any solvent that you want. But today I'm going to be showing you guys the solvent that's already mixed in denatured alcohol and how I'm going to mix this with water to create a really beautiful wood dye product. Okay guys, before you think about mixing the dye product or really starting your wood project, the directions say to make sure to sand it with a 130-150 grit sandpaper. Now the reason why you're going to want to do this is you want to open that wood grain up. You don't want to use a super fine grit sandpaper because that closes the wood pores and doesn't allow the wood dye to really sink in to the pores. And so when you use that 150 sandpaper, you're opening up the wood grain to allow the wood dye to come in, so it'll really have a vibrant, beautiful wood grain, that wood grain that will really show up well. So I have already sanded this with a 150 wood grain. And by the way, this is a maple wood cutting board. Anything that has a decent wood grain. All right guys, so after I have sanded the product, after I have cleaned it off with a tack cloth or a lint-free cloth to make sure there's no sand debris on it, we are ready to go. The first thing we're going to do today is mix the alcohol dye product into a little bit of water. Okay, because this is a concentrate, they want you to mix it with something. Now, you don't necessarily have to. You can put this directly on the piece of wood, but you want it to flow a little bit, and you want it to be easier to work with. Because I would imagine if I put this directly on the wood, I wouldn't be able to wipe it. Okay, so I'm going to mix this in a little bit of water. It tells you instructions on how to mix it if you're curious, but the bottom line is you mix it to whatever strength you want it to be. And also, like I said earlier, I am going to mix these two to make a purple color. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit in here, and you can see a little bit goes a really long ways. As a matter of fact, I think I might have used a little too much, but that's okay. There's not really a right or wrong way to do this. Okay, so I'm going to mix that a little bit, and now I'm going to use the blue. Okay. Okay. All right, now you're going to mix it. Mix that really well. Okay, now I'm gonna make a purple product, hopefully. All right, I'm gonna do 3 drops of red and 3 drops of blue. Now, I'm gonna hope for the best on this one. Okay, I'm gonna mix that really well. Okay. Once these are good and mixed, I'm gonna take this is just a lint-free cloth. It's just an old t-shirt. And you can use whatever you generally use to apply wood dye or wood stain. And I'm gonna dip a little bit in here, okay? And in order to apply this, I'll move this to the side so y'all can see better. In order to apply this, I'm going to rub with the wood grain. Now you can see that's not as dark as I would like it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a few more drops. I want this to be a lot more concentrated. Okay, and quite a bit darker. Okay, so I added a few more drops. And I'm gonna put that on there and I'm just gonna let it sit. So now I'm gonna do a little blue. And see, that's not concentrated enough either. So, added a little more blue to it. Just like that. And I want these to blend well. And honestly, y'all, that is not concentrated enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the concentrated bottle directly on there. That's better. That's what I'm going for. And a lot of playing with wood dye is just trial and error, which is kind of the fun part about it. It allows you to be more creative, I feel like. And on KEDA's website, it says to let it sit for a little bit. It's gonna sit for a few minutes, and then you're gonna take another cloth, and then you're just gonna wipe it away, kind of like you would with a regular stain product. Just like that. Okay. I'm loving that. It's looking more like, it's looking very patriotic. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this side in red, and I'm going to do the other side in blue. Okay. I'll mix that a little bit. I am loving this so far. Now the colors are really going to come out when I put the sealer on it. That's where you're really going to see the wood grain show. Okay, y'all see that? And on the flip side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clean cloth and I'm gonna mix purple, and I'm gonna make this side purple. And watch that. I love that dark purple, that dark red burgundy color. Love that color. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit and soak in for a second, and then I'll wipe it. You wanna wipe it. So looking at this, I still feel like I want a little more red, especially on the sides. So I might use this color on the sides. This is really turning out to be a pretty looking patriotic cutting board. I want it to be a little more vibrant, so I'm going to go back over it again. And I want this red to be brighter. So we're going to mix it in the red color, and then we'll try this again. What we're going to do is we're going to let this sit for a minute. We're going to make sure it dries, and then guys, when I put the polyurethane on it, that's when the dye color is really going to pop. Okay, so once the cutting board has been dyed, the last thing I'm going to do is I got these little cutouts. They're little wooden cutouts from the craft store. And I'm going to use the wood dye and make them purple. I'm just going to dip a little bit of this in here. I'm just going to cover them in purple. I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to glue them onto the cutting board, and then we're going to do the sealer. The last thing I'm going to do is put these on here and glue them on. I'm using some Gorilla Glue. So the last thing I'm going to do is put some polyurethane on this. And it should bring the color out. And hopefully this is where you'll really be able to see the wood grain. Well guys, here it is completely finished. I am loving the colors. I really wanted to make this for July the 4th, and I think it's going to be, it can either be used as a cutting board or it can be used as something just to hang on the wall. I love the colors, and I don't know that you can really see on the screen, but I do love how you could tell it almost has a three-dimensional effect. And you can see here where I might have put the dye in a little too heavy, where it really saturated the wood and I wasn't able to wipe it away like I was with the rest of the surface. But overall, I'm really pleased. This wood dye was so easy to work with, and I love the vibrant colors. One thing to note, I used an oil-based polyurethane. Now, it will alter the color just a bit because it has an amber undertone. And as polyurethane sits, as it hits the light, it will give it a little bit of a different color over time. Now, if you're wanting to stay 100% true to the wood stain color, I would go with a water-based polyacrylic or a product that is not known to amber over time. So just be aware that the polyurethanes do tend to amber, but I was okay with that. I'm not looking to stay 100% true to these colors, and I like the durability of the oil-based polyurethane. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've learned a few things about KEDA wood dyes, how to use them, when to use them, and if it's really a good fit for your project. If you've learned something from this, I would love for you to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks for watching, guys.